Hi yogis, welcome back. This is our conversation about how to teach meditation. Teaching meditation comes from confidence and patience. The confidence comes from your own personal experience, a really robust personal meditation practice, being clear on your own reasons for practicing meditation, and the capacity to understand people's differences. Spruce Man he does this every single day. He fetches my socks for me, which I have left in the change room, and he brings them in here and delivers them to me. I think it's his sign that he wants to go outside. We'll go outside for a walking meditation shortly, Spruce Man. So teaching meditation comes from confidence and experience and patience. So the patience part is with waiting for students to work towards their own meditative states. You don't have to know their reasons for meditating. You don't have to have the same reasons for meditating, but you do have to have patience for the differences between you as the teacher and your students as the learners. So as the student of meditation, your responsibility is to extend those qualities, loving kindness and compassion, to everyone that you come into contact with, even people who don't have the cause or the conditions to tread down the path towards meditation. So as a teacher, you are extending patience towards students who are different from you, compassion for people who don't have the cause or conditions to practice meditation, and this confidence comes from your own personal, robust meditation practice. Your personal path, it starts with understanding the precious human experience, understanding and acknowledging the sacred life that we all live. And you can interpret that how you like, but that's the first step down the personal meditation path. The next step is acknowledgement of impermanence. And this is exemplified through avoiding small-minded thinking, refraining from selfishness, and abandoning ego and possession. So how to abandon your ego, things like forgiveness, you forgive your friend for being late, surrendering of control, you let your colleague design some important thing on a work project, appreciating silence, you build a sanctuary for yourself where you can be alone and in silence, and practicing gratitude. Today, I'm grateful for the migrating birds, the first sign of spring. So those four qualities, forgiveness, surrender, silence, and gratitude, are the qualities that you embody as you abandon your ego and as you accept impermanence. The next step down the personal meditation path is taking responsibility for suffering and responsibility for your reactions to suffering. So suffering and difficulty are a mandatory condition of the human experience. And you, as you tread down this path of meditation, you take responsibility for your reaction to suffering. You can, that brings us to the fourth step, which is understanding that suffering is as a result of ignorance or excessive desire. And you create your own responsibility for your reaction to suffering, not through a vapid neutrality and a benign indifference, but sort of towards a benevolent love for the human condition. And that starts with yourself, and that extends to, through your meditation practice, it extends to everyone with whom you encounter. And so that's your personal path as you grow a robust personal meditation before you are qualified to teach students. So qualified teachers, they have this robust personal practice. They understand the precious human experience. They understand impermanence. They are able to take responsibility for their own reactions to suffering, and they are capable of extending benevolent compassion. You're clear on your own teachings of meditation, and you have the capacity to understand differences. So that's the patience that you extend towards your students if they're for their different reasons for practicing meditation, and also if they don't have the cause or conditions to tread down this meditative path. So how to actually teach meditation in front of a class or in front of a camera. Start with the physical. So start with instructing your students to sit comfortably. Sitting on a block or a bolster is really critical. Or a pillow. I have a beanbag bolster. Not selling it. I just have one. I found it made a huge difference to being comfortable by elevating my hips up and off the mat. If you're physically uncomfortable, if your back or your knees are aching, meditation is just going to be that much more difficult. And you really want to be comfortable so that you can ease your way down this understanding of compassion, this understanding of loving compassion, which is what you're creating with meditation, without being distracted by the aches and pains in your knees and your back and your shoulders. And then start with a breathing exercise for your students. Very simple to start. Just count your inhales and your exhales. So join me in your comfortable seat on your cushion and breathe in for 1, 2, 3. And exhale for 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3. Breathe out for 3, 2, 1. And then you can add a mantra to the breath. A mantra is just a simple phrase to hold your attention. As you inhale, say right. As you exhale, now. Inhale, just. Exhale, this. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Inhale, right. Exhale, now. Inhale, just. Exhale, this. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Inhale, right. Exhale, now. Inhale, just. Exhale, this. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Acknowledge any thoughts that come into your mind. Capture them in a little bubble. Take note of their presence, but train yourself not to react. Train your students not to react. And then as the teacher, you sit silently and let the practice, that the qualities of the practice be experienced by your students. Let them experience their own meditation. So you sit quietly, and even if you are not dropping into that meditative state, you sit quietly and you pretend. You've added the breath and the mantra, and then you sit quietly for a couple of beats. And then you'll guide your students back to attention, back to the room, back to the mat. Have some sort of ceremonial closure. For me, I use a chime or an om, just a little ceremonial ending to the practice. And then leave time for questions from your students. So questions that come up a lot are, how do I make time for meditation? What does it mean? And how do you do this? And the answers, they're not easy. They come from your own personal experience, which is why you have to have such a robust personal meditation practice to be able to explain it and describe the experience to students. But how do you make time for yoga, for meditation? You can always consider other types of meditation if a student insists that she can't sit still and be quiet. There's always walking meditation. Walking meditation can exemplify the path of meditation as well. It can you can practice surrendering control, you can practice forgiveness, you can practice gratitude, you can practice the qualities of the mind, loving compassion while you're walking along and letting that locomotion soothe your mind. And then you can also remind students just to use the vocabulary of compassion in their daily self-talk. So the vocabulary of compassion it's benevolent, loving kindness, just joy, love, kindness, compassion. There's infinite words, and it's this vocabulary that represents the meditation in our minds. And that's where we start. So that's another answer to students if they're asking how to fit meditation in. And then finally, remind your students that meditation is training the mind. Just like we train the body by running or at the gym or doing sports, meditation is training the mind to maintain this focus on benevolent, loving compassion for ourselves and for every experience and person and being that we come into contact with. So create your own robust personal meditation practice so that you're able to share personal experiences and anecdotes about the practice. For me, the very first time after a long time of trying to meditate, the very first time that I experienced a meditative state, I described it immediately after as a simultaneous feeling of heaviness, of sinking down and into my mat while simultaneously feeling buoyant and floating up and off my mat. And without my own personal robust meditation experience, I would be incapable of describing any kind of feeling. So you're not capturing a feeling that your students must feel, but you're exemplifying what meditation means to you. And then from that confidence, that knowledge, and that experience, your students will have the capacity to examine and attempt their own meditation. Thank you, yogis, for practicing with me. Namaste, until we meet again.